Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of The Road to Old School MTG. In this video I have round 2 of the August 2024 X Points tournament held at Dave's Time Warp in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. Round 1 I lost, so this is going into round 2. This event was pretty decently attended, around 22 players, and there were 5 rounds total. So I have all 5 rounds for you, this one being number 2. Before anything, let's start with some deck tech. Alright, so first I'll start with my deck. So this is a nearly mono black mid-range deck. So I only have 4 scrub lands for the 4 disenchants in the sideboard. Other than that, it's mono black. The tournaments at Dave's Time Warp are proxy friendly, so the only proxy I have is 1 scrub land. Everything else is a real card, or at least real X Points legal card. So, as I said, this is a mid-range deck. There are some early threats in Orders and Hippies. I got some Royal Assassins to help out a bit, but the main beaters are the Dera Lords and the Senju Vampires, which I have 4 of each. And I have 23 lands along with 1 Mox Jet. That's one of the cards where my points are at. And the purpose for such a high land count is to hopefully potentially be getting 1 land drop per turn for the first few turns, so that way I can consistently play threats starting from turn 2. If I get lucky and I get a Dark Ritual, I can speed that up as well, of course. So another component to this is the Icy Manipulators. So with the Icy Manipulators, since this is mid-range, I want to establish the board, and Ices can have combo with Royal Assassins, of course, but also with Winter Orbs and Howling Mines, which I have 2 of each as well. So for Winter Orb, I want to tap Winter Orb at the end of my opponent's turn. That way it's basically shut off, and then during my turn I get a full untap with all my lands being untapped, and then I tap it at the end of my turn, so that my mistake, and I leave it untapped at the end of my turn, so that way my opponent still has to only untap 1 land. And then once again I rinse and repeat, tapping the Winter Orb at the end of his turn. I get all my mana, my opponent only gets 1 per turn. And similar effect with the Howling Mine, but I need to do the activation reverse. So for the Howling Mine, I want the Howling Mine to be untapped for me. That way I get the extra card, but at the end of my turn I will tap it. That way it shuts off, and then when I switch it to my opponent's turn, the Howling Mine is no longer in effect, so he just gets his regular 1 card draw. But then when it comes back to my turn and I get my full untap, Howling Mine turns back on, and then I get my extra card during my draw step. And then on the sideboard, Ivory Towers against burn decks, disenchants against anything where I need a disenchant, Gloom against white, Underworld Dreams against any type of control, and 1 Pestilence just to help out in case of any weenies, which I actually need for this opponent. So here it is now, my opponent's deck. So this is basically what I fear. Well, maybe not the most, or maybe yes, but definitely top 2, top 3. A Mono White Weenie deck. So with usually Mono White, you will have a full playset of the White Knights and the Orders, which my opponent currently has. And in addition to the swords, right? So in this mid-range deck that I have, I don't have 4 Black Knights. I do have the 4 Orders, but that's only 4 and protect pro white cards against his 8 pro black cards. And so that's going to be tricky. And of course, I'm a mid-range deck, so I don't have an explosive start. While White Weenie is all about the explosive starts, getting turn 1 dropping one, turn 2 dropping another, maybe, or 2 creatures, turn 3, and so forth, right? So you have, in terms of creatures, the only big ones are the 2 Serra Angels and then 1 Preacher, and I say bigger in terms of casting cost. Everything else is 2 mana or less. So you have the 8 Knights, but in addition you have 10 1-drops, 4 Lions, 4 Javelineers, and 2 Thunder Wolves, I think that's what it's called. It's a 1/1 first striker, because that goes great with, of course, for Crusades. Enchantment pumps all white creatures in play, +1/+1, so those weenies now become a lot bigger of a threat. And then against my deck, which is basically mono black, a lot of those, the Knights in particular, are going to be a handful to deal with. So you also see the 4 factories, so that way they can come in and just put additional threats out in the attack. And then 1 land tax, and then that combos excellently with the 2 Armageddons, and then you have the 1 Wrath of God main deck. I guess that's when either you're falling behind or the opponent has bigger creatures than you do. You just Wrath, kind of like wipe the board. Hopefully you still had some threats in your hand in anticipation to you playing that. And then on the sideboard, let's see, Healing Cells, 3 Healing Cells, 1 Spirit Link, 2 I forget the name, but they're either 1/2 or 2/1s. Blacksmiths. They're a pro-white creature, so they rarely get played. That's why I'm drawing a blank at the moment. Black Vices, I believe. Another Winter Orb, just to combo off with the Armageddons. I guess more against either control type decks. 2 extra Divine Offerings to pair with the 4 Disenchant, so I guess that could be against robots or shops. Another Serra, another Wrath, and then the I think that extra Disenchant in the middle of the sideboard is just for decoration. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Yeah, pretty neat decoration. All right, and actually one more thing which I want to give my opponent props to is, if you notice this deck picture, he has this deck laid out with no sleeves, and he actually plays me with no sleeves as well, which is something that you rarely see, especially in a competition, right? So that's Chaos Orb over there in the corner, unlimited. That's a real unlimited Chaos Orb, even though it's been tattooed up. It's still a real unlimited Chaos Orb. So I commend my opponent for having the guts to do this. Pretty cool. All right, so with that, we can go to game 1. I'm on the left, opponent's on the right. No mulligans. Opponent gets a great start with number. He only has 1 land tax, right? So he got lucky there. And then turn 2, he purposely does not play a land, or maybe he doesn't. Yeah, he has a factory in hand, so he purposely doesn't play, but he still has the 1 mana to drop a line. So me, I have to play something because I have no threats at 1 mana, so that line's gonna just kill me. So I have to make that second drop. In fact, I have to make drops for everything, right? Because my Deralos, Mercenaries, those are 4 and 5 mana. So this is leading perfectly into the land tax game plan right there, which is unfortunate for me. All right, so there you're seeing the the unsleeved card shuffling, so it's pretty cool. All right, so opponent took 3 planes in hand. That goes well, of course, with the Armageddons, which he has 2 of. So place another plane. Taps 2. So he cannot attack with the line because my order is pro-white. I'm just going to block it and then it's going to kill it without taking any damage. But he plays his own white knight. So now I cannot attack, or I mean I could. But he's going to take 2, but then I'll take 4. So here I play a factory, which now is another land, so he's going to get another trigger. And then I play a hippie. So that's good for the hippie because of course it's a flyer. So opponent here gets another 3 lands from the land tax trigger. And the main reason, of course, you want that because it's a good combo for Armageddon, but also it thins out your deck, and then he's more likely to get threats as opposed to just more lands. So right here, this is now 6 lands he's gotten just from the land tax. So here goes turn 3, plays a land. Ooh, he swords my hippie. I gain 2 life. So you see a Javelineer in hand, he attacks, I take the 2 life back that I gain, I'm back to 20. So I see, so he still hasn't played the factory that he had from the very beginning. He's playing a Javelineer. I think he's holding off maybe for the factory to maybe do a Armageddon. And then place another line. Right, so I'm lucky I have the order because of course it can get swords. And it can block everything that he has, but of course only one at a time. Well, everything except the knights. And because of that, my opponent is just only attacking with the knight because knight against knight, they basically cannot be in combat at the same time because of the protection they have against each other. All right, so I play another land and he gets another trigger. And so it was an Orberg that I played. So the factory could definitely come into play in terms of an additional blocker, right? So that would be the way that I could block the white knight, since I cannot block them with black creatures, right? So now I've had the factory for over a turn, so now it can tap itself after blocking to turn itself 3/3, and then of course it'll kill the white knight. But by that point my opponent wouldn't be attacking anyway. He has an Armageddon in hand, and then he sees I'm tapped out. I brought out a Derelord. So let's see, maybe he's waiting for a, so he's attacking for 2. I take it, I'm at 18. Maybe he's waiting for a Crusades. All right, so yeah, so he decides to put more threats in. So, but he just puts in 1 more Thunder Wolves. But I get my turn. So as it is now, of course, I'm going to be afraid about the swords or the disenchant. But if he has neither one, then my factories can block his white knights. And then maybe I can come in with the Duralord, because the Duralord, as I said, he's more of a kamikaze creature. I want him to die but take out a few of my opponent's creatures along, because his drawback of making my black spells cost 1 extra black, that is can prevent a lot of my game plan from happening. Okay, so here he finally does it, Armageddon, and then he hasn't played any lands. Of course, he's full of land. He plays a 3rd Savannah line, so he's got 3 lines. So he's got 6 creatures out in play. And so I have good blockers. Okay, he may just choose to attack with everything. Okay, so he's gonna lose 2 creatures. And I'm at 18, so I'm pretty high. He's still at 20. So I think I'm blocking both lines, and I take 3, from the other 2. So that's definitely a gutsy move. So I have a nice, I need just 1 more mana, and then I can start tapping his white knight. So I play a strip bind. I am tempted to strip his land, but I just assume he has a few more because of all the times he land taxed. So it's like, so there's not much point, plus I need the IC to tap. Either way, now he casts another white knight, so I can only tap one, the other one can still come in. So I tapped the white knight that was still in play from previous before his attack, so I didn't get hit. But yeah, he's going over it. Oof, and there it is. He plays, sorry, it's cleared out, but he has a crusade. So every creature is +1/+1, every white creature. So I tap one of his white knights. So let's see, he's probably very highly tempted to just come in all out. If he does that, he'll lose 2 creatures. The Javelineer cannot hit the order because he has pro-white, so that effect cannot be targeted to the order. That's the reason why the Javelineer hasn't lost his token. Alright, so opponent just comes in with the white knight that's not tapped, but he comes in for 3, so I'm at 12. So I got 4 more turns if I don't have a way to deal with the second white knight. So another factory could be useful, although I can't block initially. I gotta wait 1 extra turn where it can turn to actually no, not even in that case, because white knight has first strike, right? So even a factory, a 3/3 factory is still gonna die without the white knight dying. All right, so here I have demonic tutor. So let's see if I can see what I search for. But honestly, oh, I found it, I think. Okay, see, I think it's a factory, but I'm thinking maybe not, because I need an extra black. So yeah, I just need mana here. So I'm tempted to maybe get a Mox, but I'm afraid he might disenchant it. But I think I played a land this turn, so the Mox can give me an extra mana, or else I would have to wait 1 more turn. So if I'm not mistaken, so yeah, I ended up getting a Mox check. So that way I can play it and then still do the icy tap. All right, opponent drops a land. I see a Serra Angel in hand. All right, so I tap a white knight with the Mox that I had just brought in. So I'm at 12, you know, not super low, but I'm getting there. Okay, ooh, he's animating, he's coming in with everything, so very ballsy. So the white knight is definitely coming through, so I can block 2 things. So I'm blocking the factory and the lion probably. Yep, so I'm coming, so he's coming here for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because of the Crusades pump. So I'm at 5. So my creatures have been good in terms of they're holding down the fort, you know, they're staying put, and I'm destroying his creatures, but he's gone so wide that it's still not enough. I'm at 5, so another order is great, but it doesn't prevent the white knights from coming in. I can tap 1, that'll be 3 damage less, but the other one still comes in for 3. That drops me to 2. And then I have the same problem next turn. And remember, I have the Hellfire, but by this point I'm way too low, so I can't even cast it, even if I drew it. So I place another land. He lost a factory last turn, right? So or else he would have had enough mana for that Serra Angel. So I tap. Yeah, he just plays safe. He just comes in with a white knight. I'm at 2. I get my untap. I don't know. Okay, I get a land, which is good, but I mean, what can I do against that extra white knight? I can't. I have to cast basically another icy, which is possible, but then I wouldn't have the mana to activate it. And of course, with the Derrilord, if I cast a Dark Ritual, it would only net me 1 mana extra. But yeah, so here I'm just doing the math, but nah, there's nothing I can do to come back from this. Alright, so we're gonna go into game 2. I am on the left, opponent's on the right. I go first, no moles from either one. I have a see a dark creature in hand. I play a swamp. I think I see a hip. No. Okay, I see a royal assassin. Let's see what I do. Okay, so I had either turn 1 hippie or turn 1 royal assassin. So the assassin I think is nice to play it as a surprise. Okay, but now, oof. Now I regret not bringing it up because then, now when I play it, it's gonna die to the Javelineer that my opponent just played. So I come in for 2, and I discard. Ooh, excellent discard for me, a Issuer's Factory. So my opponent should be, yep, there he is, dropping to 18. And so yeah, I was still contemplating doing something, but then I skipped it. So he already has a Crusades in hand. I see a Swords to Plowshares in hand. Comes in for 1 up. I get a damage, but then I gain 2 life from the swords on my hip. Okay, so now I cast. I think this was a mistake on my end. I totally forgot about the Javelineer. But I guess, you know. Yeah, no, that was definitely a mistake. I had a drain life in hand. I could have drained life it for 1, so big time mistake for me. Yeah, yep, I had a drain life already, so I should have drained life it for 1. You see, I already did it now. I did it anyway, but I lost my Royal Assassin. So that's a big miss for me. But so in this game, I am getting that consistent land drop. So here I brought out that turn 5 Send Your Vampire, and I had that nice boost with the dark creature. So this is what I want to do. My opponent had a white knight from previous attacks. I'm back to 20. Oof, he gets a Chaos Orb. So on sleeve flip. Oh, he misses, but then of course the Chaos Orb is on sleeve, right? So it has less weight. It's more bouncy. So yeah, can't really fault my opponent for missing there. If anything, I give him credit for flipping on a $1,000 card. Raw $1,000 card. Alright, so I still got my vampire. So here I'm thinking, okay, I can maybe outrace him, because actually, yeah, my opponent had a Crusade already out in play, so he's potentially hitting me for 3 every turn. Ooh, perfect for me. I play a Icy, so he does have the factory. Ooh, okay, so I tap. He plays another white knight. So yeah, so here, like I was saying, I can outrace him, but then he played out 2 extra threats. So he just doubled the threats. He has no cards in hand. And of course with the Crusade, right? So that's potentially 9 damage from just the white creatures, and then 2 more with the factory. Of course I can tap 1. Okay, nice, Derelor. Derelor can only block the factory. Okay, tap the Pump Knight just in case. He's coming in for 6. So I'm at 14. He's at 10. So I'm not horrible here. So here I'm thinking, okay, if I attack with the Derelor, I'm not gonna have the Derelor open to block the factory, and then that's gonna be an extra damage. But I think honestly, with the way it's going, I think I should have just attacked. Because he's at 10. He's gonna take 4 from the flying. Or at least he could. He has 1 card in hand. And then if he doesn't do anything, if he just lets the Derelor through. Okay, so I have no cards in hand. I just Demonic Tutor. So let's see. I may be trimming the video here, but I'll see if I can look at what card I picked here. So I'm definitely thinking about Hellfire. I could cast it even though with the Derelor, because I have enough mana, but it'll be for next turn. And then I might be getting here for like 6, 7 this turn anyway. So it's a hard choice. I'm thinking, okay, do I pick something that'll help me now this turn, or do I wait it out? Can I wait it out for something for next turn as well? Because remember that Derrilo right now is impeding me, so I have to tap 3 mana to cast that demonic tutor. And then I'm gonna, if I play a black spell, actually most likely cannot. If it's an order, maybe I can play it, but that wouldn't help too much. Actually, it could. The order could help, because then, no, the order can come in without being blocked. Actually, no, he has a factor, so it can be blocked by the factor. I think maybe I should have. Okay, so I didn't see what I picked, but we'll see what it was anyway, eventually. But I'm saying, like, maybe I should have attacked first, see what would have happened with the factory if he ends up blocking or not, and then maybe I could have cast. I would have decided to get a order, or maybe I got it anyway. So I'm most likely tempted to have picked something that I needed for this turn. But of course I need to tap with the icy as well. So yeah, I think in general you want to attack first, see what happens, and then, you know, that gives you more information to then react with the demonic tutor. I don't think I need to do it initially, unless you want to play something before you attack. But it looks like I'm not even playing it anyway, so, you know, so there was no point for me doing it before the attack. I should have just attacked initially. All right, so yeah, there you go. So, my opponent got lucky. He got that other sword, so I gained 4. So this throws all my math out the window. You see now, I don't know what I did. Okay, so that's what I got. A Chaos Orb. Now the bad thing is that I cannot Chaos Orb and Icy same turn. So I'm thinking, okay, what's more important? That first of all, he's gonna attack with everything. So he's gonna do at least 8 damage, because. Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, so I tap, so I decide to tap the Pump Knight. So he comes in with everything. That's 8 damage. Okay, that I gained 4 life extra from the Singer. He got a Savannah line, so he brings in a line. Okay. He has no cards in hand. So I still have that Chaos Orb. So let's say, as I was saying, right, if I had done a White Knight, I mean in order instead, actually, yeah, I don't know if that would have made much of a difference. So I'm at 10 right now. If I had picked the Hellfire, I would have taken 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 damage. I would have been alive. I think that's what it was. I think it should have gotten the Hellfire. So I'm attacking with the Durlord. I'm at 2, or I should have gotten a Drain Life, because even with, so he's at 2 now. Even, and you see, haven't even used the Chaos Orb anyway so far. I don't have a balance because it's 3 points. I just don't have it. But of course, ideally now, looking at this board state, that was the ideal card. Get a balance, and then I could just tap the last creature that he has, because I still have a Derrilo. Alright, so I choose to flip on his Pump Knight. Okay, so nice flip on my end. He's at 2. Okay, so here, let's see, can he kill me this turn? 3, 6, 8. So I'll drop to 2 as well. So I'm tapping one of the knights. So of course, if he attacks with everything, he's not gonna kill me. And then I can come in with the Derrilo, and I can just tap whatever creature he holds behind, right? So he cannot come in for an Alpha Strike, as the kids call it. So he just comes in for 2. Okay, so he had a disenchant anyway, so he knew. Okay, I would have maybe come in for more, but he couldn't have killed me anyway that turn. So another land, so I have plenty of land. So yeah, in hindsight I should have gotten. So this is definitely totally my mistake. So so here's coming in for 6. Well, I'll talk about this after the game. What I was gonna say. So last turn I just didn't do anything, just played a land, that's it. We're both at 2, and considering I'm like debating what I just drew, it's probably not good, because if it was a drain life, that would be a no-brainer. Of course you want to do extras just in case he has a healing salve or a swords himself, his own creatures, but then there was nothing I could do because I just concede right there. All right, so disappointing loss, and especially because I definitely see the errors I made especially in that game too. So number one, that initial error of casting the Royal Assassin without thinking about the Javelinier that still had a token on it, the Javelinier counter, Javelin counter I mean, and the fact that I could have destroyed it because I did have a Drain Life in hand when I also had the Royal Assassin, right? So that was totally a screw up on my end. It would have most likely gotten swords anyway, but then that just means he wouldn't have had the swords for something else, right? So that's number one. And then number 2, on that Demonic Tutor, I totally botched that. My opponent ended up dropping 2. If I had Demonic Tutored for a Drain Life, that could have won me the game. Or right here, just seeing I have 2 Hellfires. In fact, the Hellfires were the original inspiration for this deck. That's why I also have 4 Ivory Towers in the sideboard. The Ivory Towers are, of course, great against burn decks or any fast decks. In fact, maybe I should have put Ivory Towers against this opponent, or maybe I did. I don't recall what I did during my sideboarding. But the Ivory Towers also go well with the Hellfire, since I lose so much life, or I can potentially lose a lot of life with the Hellfire. But usually that Hellfire would be still worth it if I have the life to spare. So I think when I cast the Demonic Tutor, I could have gotten a benefit from the Hellfire, even though it maybe would have dropped me super low. As long as I'm alive and I have creatures and my opponent doesn't, then that's good, right? And of course he doesn't play burn, so yeah, so it's pretty so I had a few avenues that I should have taken instead of what I did. I took the Chaos Orb, which was not useless by any means. It did something, but in hindsight it didn't win me the game. It just slowed things down a bit. But if I had gotten a Drain Life, or if I had gotten a Hellfire, those could have won me the game, right? So yeah, totally botched that on my end. But that's actually one of the nice things about me creating these videos. I notice a lot of plays on my end. I grow as a player. And of course, to everyone watching, please don't make the mistakes I just did for this game too. But either way, still fun games, and props to my opponent. Great, intense games. And once again, props to him playing unsleeved Magic the way it was originally intended. Thank you guys for watching.